Hi everyone, Charity here with our Stumptown Art Studio Drawing Challenge. Your challenge today is to find something in your refrigerator to draw. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be a ketchup bottle, giant bag of noodles, or some produce. I'm going to go with this pepper. Oops. And we will make a drawing of this and see how it goes. Be sure to upload your refrigerator creations to our Facebook page under the comments. So I've taken my pepper and I've got it set up. I've just got a black tablecloth hung up, and then I've got this little clip lamp. That way I can get a little bit of side lighting on my pepper. You guys can do this at home, or you can just set it up on a table and look at your object. Think about how you want to have it laid out on your space, and then we'll gather our materials and start sketching. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some vine charcoal. These are just little sticks of charcoal, and I'm going to lightly sketch in the shape of my pepper. Kind of looking for that overall basic shape and our different planes and angles. Really simplify whatever you're drawing on and working. That guy goes back a little bit. And then I've also got a kneaded eraser. And just like their name, you can knead them up and they will lift off your charcoal. So now that I've got my basic shape, I'm going to go around and refine it a little bit. I'm switching over to a charcoal pencil just because it's a little bit more finer in its line and linear work. I'm going to put in the center of my pepper, looking for that little stem there, kind of how he attaches. And then I'm going to go around the outside and start looking at that outer contour. So I've started just with basic shapes, and then I'm slowly starting to change the way that they move around the form. I'm always working from simpler shapes to more complex shapes. Okay, so that's about my basic pepper shape there. I'm going to go ahead and mark on a little bit of the shadow where he's sitting so I don't forget about that cast shadow there. Once you get your whatever you're drawing sketched in, kind of roughly measured, you're going to start going in and blocking in your shadow shapes. So I'm going to go back to my vine charcoal and I'm going to start filling in anywhere I see some shadows. And I'm using the side of my vine charcoal. If you've got a pencil or something else, you can use whatever it is. Got kind of a long shadow coming down here. And a little bit under my stem there. And maybe a little bit over there. Okay, then I need to blend my shadow shapes. So I've got one of these rolled paper stumps. It's paper tortillon. Works pretty well for blending and smoothing. You can also just use your finger, or you can use paper towel. Whatever you have that you can really blend that charcoal down. I'm also trying to work away those outlines that I put on there. Smooth those down as I go. So I'm really just looking for simple overall masses of shadow. Nothing too complicated. I'm going to go ahead and fill in that cast shadow down here. That's our deep dark shadow. It's usually underneath our objects. Blend that in as well. And soften the edge too. You can always go back in and sharpen things up. So I tend to keep my edges really soft as I'm building these forms up. And then I can go back in later and crisp anything up that needs to be crisped up. I've got my kneaded eraser. I'm gonna lift off some of those early sketching marks, make them a little bit softer. Well, I've got my tortilla with a little bit of value on it, a little bit of charcoal. I'm just going to rub some value into my lighter areas on this pepper. So now I'm just using my kneaded eraser to kind of pull back some lighter areas. And we've got pretty strong highlight right along this edge here. I'll lift off some of that charcoal there and a little reflection over here. So lift that off. Okay, so now I've got things kind of roughed in. Now I'm going to switch over to my charcoal pencils. These are the same ones I used before. And I'm going to start refining a little bit. So wherever my light changes from light to shadow, we've got a core shadow, which is a deeper, darker shadow than some of the other shadows you'll see on your form. So I'm going to lay that right on top. And I'm using a 6B General's charcoal pencil. And if you look at whatever you're drawing, you're going to see these core shadows. There are deepest, darkest shadows right where the light turns from light to shadow. And I'm going to blend that in as well. Again, always softening those edges. We can make them crisper at the end where we need to, but keeping them kind of soft for now. So I'm going to go along the bottom. Make that a little bit darker too. This cast shadow I've got here is pretty dark. Again, blend that back. now I'm going to go in and start looking at smaller shadow differences. So wherever I see some of those darker shadows, I'm going to start laying those right over top of that main shadow mask that we blended in. Alright guys, so I did a little bit more work. Felt like it needed a background and just something to kind of finish it up. I look forward to seeing all of your creations and what you come up with for your fridge art. Be sure to post your drawings on our Stumptown Art Studio Facebook page.